Republic, that is CFR. Hence, it urged President Muhammadu Buhari and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, to use diplomatic channels to ensure that the case is transferred to Nigeria. Is this possible?
Well, when it comes to the issue of diplomacy, nothing is impossible. Because you and I know that there are occasions when they do prisoner swap between countries. So we have not got to that level yet. I think this is premature, basically, this call. Because I thought that this would come at the point when the trial itself must have started or reached a stage where it is obvious that there's need for intervention. Right now, he's still presumed to be innocent until pronounced guilty. And I think they should let the law take its natural course in a foreign country until we get to where we are going. Like I said, what they're asking for is something you usually get when the trial was already on, or when they are looking at the direction where the thing is likely to dovetail into. But to now start making this call at this point, when there's not been convicted of anything, to me is putting the horse before the cart.
Ekweremadu in London, a lot of people tell you that it's a criminal case that is facing in London that has nothing to do with the federal government of Nigeria. He went to London as an individual. He did not go to London as a commander of the Federal Republic or as a deputy senate president. He went there to, in search for something better for your child.
Well, I think, like Gani said, I think there's something that we have to understand in this country, and that is that there are countries with processes of law. And there are also countries that respect their own institution, that no matter who is concerned, you must go through the normal channel. We also have to know that, like you said, the man traveled out of Nigeria as a private citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The offense for which he's being tried, though it's not yet guilty, was committed inside London, not in Nigeria. If he had committed that thing in Nigeria and Nigeria government is asking for extradition, it's another thing that people can come that use. Because Ohanese, they are trying to say that they should use political means to solve that particular thing. But we also have to know that there's a limit to which impunity can reign in any organized setup. Whether you like it or not, Britain, US, all these countries, they have their own modus operandi. They have their own law and they have their own processes. And I think we should allow that processes to take its natural course. It is also a signal that no matter who is involved in Nigeria, all our public officials should learn to play by the rule of the game at any point in time. Because you may be on the wrong side of the law, no matter who you are at any point in time. So it is better to be on the right side of the law. And this question, yes, is still being tried. It's not a question of innocence. There's a lot of things that is involved. And I'm also surprised that because about 3 weeks ago, I think the members of the Senate also went there on solidarity. So I think all these things, we are dealing with countries that are organized, like I said, that have processes, that have strong institutions, that they have a way of doing their things. I don't know what Ohanese are saying. Maybe they are asking the federal government to ask British government to waive that thing. I don't know whether it is plausible or it's logical within this context. The thing was committed inside UK, not in Nigeria.
Uche is calling us from Abeokuta. Thank you for joining us, Uche.
Well, good evening.
Good evening, Uche.
Hi, good evening, the panelists.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Uche calling from Abeokuta.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, when the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation is saying that the federal government will not intervene, I'm not a fan of Ekweremadu, but I don't think that what he said is right. You recall that when a woman calls Zainab, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was caught with cocaine in Dubai. The federal government intervened. This is a woman that's carrying cocaine. And the federal government intervened.
She was alleged to. She was alleged.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
The federal government intervened when Dajuma Goje was having a case with EFCC. Manami came and did what we call nolle prosecu. So the federal government should not come here and tell us that they cannot intervene. I'm not a fan of Ekweremadu. Because if Ekweremadu had done the right thing, and the hospitals are here in Nigeria, he wouldn't have gone to London to face this act now. It's because the hospitals in Nigeria are not working. And he is a deputy senate president for 12 years. They did not consider doing anything in the hospital.
Thank you, Uche.
No legislation of
Thank you for your contribution.
What will be the point of law that the federal government will be
intervening for?
Because you have to understand the dynamics of what's going on. Organ harvesting is a crime in the UK. And they have their laws and their processes. The best government could do is to tell the UK government to be fair. That they make sure they get the best legal representations available to which they can intervene. But to intervene in the process itself is not the best thing to do. Because you are telling them that there are some people bigger than the laws of countries where they decided to commit these offenses. It's like what is happening in Madagascar, or all these, all Malaysian countries. All these people that have laws against drugs. It's like asking the government to intervene because somebody was caught carrying drugs.
But what they are asking now is that the organization is saying that they should use diplomatic channel to ensure that the case is transferred.
The case cannot be transferred there because the offense was not committed.
It's also committed in Nigeria now.
You cannot transfer a case that is done in Lagos to Borno simply because both the victim and the indigenous Borno states. The laws of Lagos applied to that case will be applied. It's common sense in law. So whatever will happen, the government will come at the point when it was obvious that he's been found guilty and they now want to use the product means. But as of this point, it's not necessary. Right now, let the law take its course. After that, the government can now intervene when it comes to other things that they want to do after the case either been established or dismissed. Because for as long as I know, nobody has said that the former deputy senate president is guilty.
He's guilty, yes.
It's an allegation.
There are processes.
And nobody will see his day in court until October. So asking them to, it's like our NSA is telling us that the man is guilty as charged, and they want him to bring the case here to Nigeria. Yeah. It's not done. The best thing for Mr. Ekweremadu now is to go through the process and clear his name, which may likely also be an outcome. Because, like I said, he's not being convicted of any crime as of today. So what are they intervening in?
Okay, I have Adeni from Bariga, Lagos.
Good afternoon.
Yes, go ahead, Adeni.
It's true that Nigeria is learning a lot of lessons from the external places. I look at the situation whereby if this were to... Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
If this were to be a situation here within Nigeria, will we or the public have known about this case? What will have been the case of the person who was taken out all the way from here to UK? In most cases, the case will have been killed, died down, and even the life of that young man will have even been at risk in view of the little I know about the Nigerian situation. But here it's happening externally, and in the government of UK, to the extent that I know, they don't compromise. You can see what happens to Boris Johnson. When you do anything wrong in those kind of places, you don't have any basis to say, this is who I am. You face the music. So, intervening or not intervening, let him face the music, and if he is not guilty, the system will treat it accordingly. But they putting sentiment into it, and they should intervene, they should not intervene. This is not Nigeria. And that boy's interest should also be protected.
Thank you. And at the end of the day, a lot of people will look at it and look at the time. The next adjournment, I think, is for October. And the wife has been released, maybe to be able to cater for the daughter. And if he had just settled for something like that here, I don't know, maybe it would be as complicated as that.
Well,
because I'm aware that they do.
I think the lesson from this thing is that every public officer, either from the level of local government to the president, should do your best in your position to provide the available resources to do that particular thing. Let me give you an example. Year 2013, I went to Lut for eye surgery. I took 7 hours for both eyes. So I did not tell them my identity. I just enrolled through my consultant. So at the end of the day, when they finished the surgery around 4 o'clock, they blinded my eyes, 7 o'clock. The following day, they opened it, and one young lady doctor came on ward round, and he said, he asked me a lot of questions, which I answered honestly. So I now put it on Facebook. I was impressed by their performance. Lagos University Teaching Hospital. A lot of people started calling me that, today what do you want there? Why did you go there? Why must you kill yourself? I said, who told you that? I went through that particular experience, and I put it on my Facebook that I commended the staff of that hospital. And later on, one of the professors told me that a former deputy governor, they have to operate the daughter, but that what they needed was an incubating machine. And the woman said they should fly out of the country, and they told her that they can get in Nigeria. There and then the woman bought 7 incubating machines for that particular hospital. Yeah. So if our public officers are made to patronize local hospitals, they will know the problem. Same thing with local businesses, universities, and higher institutions. So there's no point doing it. You see, because whatever goes round comes round. So our public officials should learn to be responsible at any position they find themselves.
Because you don't know when you come back to
bite you.
Now, Nigeria now has a total of 172 monkeypox infections and 4 deaths after 15 new confirmed cases. Reports by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, shows that more than 50% of the cases were recorded among men. According to reports, out of the 172 cases reported from the 1st of January to the 7th of August, men accounted for 115 infections. So we have it, monkeypox.
Yeah, it is. We have to go through this circle every other decade.
Just coming out from COVID.
Yeah, we are just
not fully out of the woods.
I think we just need to just take it as the new normal. That we have to be very particular about our health, about our hygiene, things that we can do, things that we can move near. All these things, like I said, in some countries, they've not lifted the face mask rule. Not because they're afraid of anything, because they assume that it's better to be safe than sorry. And that's what we need to do. Nigerians have the tendency, we are very religious people. If you should say this in some instances, people will be snapping their fingers. That is not their portion. But it's not anybody's portion once you are very careful and then do the needful. That's what we need to tell our listeners. These are symptoms that you need to see. Once you have them, please report yourself to the nearest centers. So because monkeypox, if caught on time, is still treatable. On time. Not when it's at an advanced stage that people can do. And I understand that the vaccines are now available, to which that, of course, people need to get it. Let our listeners know that this is real and it's not anybody's portion.
What do I have to expose myself to learn myself the monkeypox?
Well, I think, contained in the report, they said most of those people afflicted now are men. I think we just have to look at our ways of life, look at our ways, the kind of company we keep, the kind of attitude towards life, because it's also about personal attitude towards life. I won't say more than that. So if men are found to be more susceptible to this disease, they should caution themselves and they should know the company they keep at any point in time. They should change their lifestyle and ways of life. The WHO came out with a report before during the COVID that they were expecting about 500,000 or 1 million to have died in Africa. And they must have been surprised. Surprised because our template here and temperature here is actually against the multiplication of the COVID. So, but we should not take that one for granted. It is also a warning to government that we should not allow the spread of an epidemic to be the only solution to the time that we are going to prepare for emergencies. We love emergencies in Nigeria. And I think both the government and the people should also make sure that they watch out for the symptoms and try as much as possible to reduce it. I can't see any government now treating anybody for COVID. When you have COVID now, you're on your own. OYO. So people should take extra measures, look out for these symptoms, and make sure that they avoid it as soon as possible, and make a report before the thing trigger off.
GKB, the good thing about it is that we have the vaccine.
That's what I said.
We have the vaccine.
But again, having it is different from having access to it. But that's also a very fundamental challenge that we face as a nation. People know that it's there, but whether they will go and get it is another thing. Or they will now start to commercialize it. Because remember at a point in time when certain hospitals were given the rights to administer the COVID something, they start turning to a money-making venture. That people have to be forced back to primary health care. Because I remember that somewhere around Abulegba, there are some hospitals that were licensed for COVID, and they turned it to a money-making.
Yes.
So people are now rushed back to the primary health care centers to get their COVID shots. I hope that will not happen in the case of monkeypox. Because like I said, this one is more feasible. It's not something you can really hide. And then, so you don't become ostracized by people simply because they see the signs on you. Better to go there on time and tell the people what you are going through. That is the key to prevent this thing from becoming an epidemic.
Okay, I have Ade calling from London. Thank you for joining us, Ade.
I'm greeting to my two brothers in the studio. And I think Babalola is not around. Please, I want to quickly comment on that, the Deputy Senate President, former one.
Please.
I think what Nigeria will do is that they can write a character reference, let the federal government, and give it to the judge. They could take that into consideration and they could just find him. Because if they convict him and he has a criminal record, he won't be able to come to London anymore. And he has a property here. That's my fear. I don't want to convict you to have a criminal record. If federal government can write a character reference to the judge, not that the thing should not go as normal, but they take that to consideration and be lenient with him and find him instead of convicting him. Because if he has a criminal record, that's it for him. So I pray it will not be like that. You know, we are all Nigerians, we should be able to help each other. Regarding the monkeypox, hygiene is the key, hygiene. And Nigeria should develop the vaccine and should be awareness to our people now. Because it's happening in my state and on those states. There should be awareness so you can be careful. God will save our country and will save Nigeria. Save us.
Thank you, Ade. Thank you, Ade. You're saying that for Ekweremadu, that
but again, the letter to vouch for character.
It's like a character sketch.
But that will still be when they commence with the trial.
Trial proper. Okay.
Nothing can be done before then.
All right. Moving on now. Politics in Nigeria has become the biblical kingdom of God that has suffered violence, which the violence are taking it by force. The All Progressive Congress APC ticket for Ebonyi South Senatorial District is the bone of contention here. The APC in the zone has expelled the main challenger to Governor Dave Umahi for the tickets and Agom Eze from the party over alleged rebellious and unruly behavior. According to a statement by the APC chairman in the state, Stanley Okoro Emegba, she said she was expelled because she violated the APC constitution, which prohibits any act of dishonesty capable of disparaging the party or its members. This is vague. What is the meaning of this?
Well, I think, like I was about to ask you, maybe the party has to come out. They want Nigerians to be convinced that they have to define what is dishonesty within the APC. Remember that with the issue of Yobe North, we had the same thing because all these people occupying positions, they want to eat their cake and have it. The Senate president tried it, but I think the APC in Yobe North, they were stronger than the people in Ebonyi State. There's no point, it's not possible for you to contest for the office of presidency and that of Senate at the same time. I think what is playing out here is that our political office holders, we don't play politics as to be, and we have no respect for party procedures
and for rule of law.
For the rule of law.
And for
one must expel somebody from the party because he has the audacity to show interest in a position in which the government...
she has the ticket.
She has the ticket already in a position that which the governor is already interested in.
So by expelling her, the implication is that if you expel her from the party now, the ticket automatically goes to...
I think they went to court and the court decided that there had been no emergency rerun in Ebonyi. Okay. That will lead to her stepping aside. Obviously, the lady has decided in her wisdom, and I agree with her, that she worked for this.
Yes, no.
It is her ticket. That's what our people wanted in APC. But some powers that have decided that if you are able to play ball and simply go quietly into the night, the best thing to do is to malign you and then do all this for your reputation.
Well,
remember what happened in Edo, where that led to the whole crisis in the APC.
In the APC, yes.
Somebody just decided that, okay, if the national chairman is becoming obstinate, why not just go to his ward
and remove him
deal with him there? And this is exactly what is playing out. Somebody now says that they are going to expel you on something as vague as dishonesty and disparaging. Policy itself is the act of disparagement. That's what we've been going through in Nigeria for the last 50 months. So people are spending every waking hour disparaging others.
So she violated the APC constitution, which prohibits any act of dishonesty capable of disparaging the party or its members.
They have to define what is dishonesty for us within the APC.
This will have been ironic if it's not so laughable, for two reasons. One, if the governor was not directly involved, then you can say, okay, maybe something happened. But we all know what this is. And you know what the Americans will say. If somebody calls you a horse, punch them in the nose. If another person calls you a horse, shoot them down. The third person that calls you a horse, go and buy an harness, because you are now a horse. Because if they say you want to grab this woman's position, and you said no, you went to court, the court said the woman was right. You said no, the woman has now been dismissed from the party. So the word they are saying is that there will not be a rerun, where whoever is interested will now shoe in to become the candidate of the party.
Did this aspirants or candidates, did they not go through the electoral act as amended? Because I know it used to be a standard practice before now that, oh, there will be a placeholder, you are gunning for the presidency. Rochas Okorocha, 4 years ago, he wanted to run. Was it 4 years ago?
8 years ago.
8 years ago, 2015. He ran against President Muhammadu Buhari. In Lagos Palmer is here, and the ticket he was, and immediately he lost. He had the placeholder, and 2 weeks after, he was still in contention for the governorship for the second time in office.
I think it is very, very unfortunate that it is the ruling party in Nigeria, the APC, that is trying all these monkey ways of doing politics.
It's not peculiar to the ruling party.
Yes, but the fact remains that those people who are in position of power, they want to eat their cake and have it. Yes, the thing should have been thrown open. Agree that the governor has every right to want to go to the Senate, but we should play by the rules at any point in time. Because by removing that woman, it's also even contemptuous.
No, he contested the presidency. She contested for the presidential ticket.
I went again to go. Want to have the Senate because it must be there at all means. I think this is not politics. It's some.
No, I think what really happened was that they did not really iron out the terms of agreements. That
whether it be
in case I didn't win, or not, I'll come back and you'll do this. Because let's forget, governors have enormous powers.
Yes.
They have enormous powers.
The party belongs to the governors.
And so in that wise, for them to have to go this low means that the woman has been very obstinate. Maybe she has been very sure that she's not going to release that ticket to the governor. That's why the court case that now validated their own choice. Because I had to come in and tell them, no, you cannot do this. We know about the primary election, the woman won. And nobody asked for a rerun. You cannot replace a person without certain things. But now what they've done is simply remove the woman from the party, and they will now inform INEC that they've expelled. Their position is now vacant. And then will now announce a new date for the rerun, and whoever will win. I'm not saying this is government.
I have Olushola Julius.
The landslide.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
KB, how are you, sir? I'm the only man in the studio. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Now, I am looking at this issue in two ways. Number one, is this not going to smear the integrity of the governor of that state? Why? Because you want to be in power by all means. After being governor for 8 years, you still want to be in the Senate. To do what? So you are looking for a way to malign this woman so that she will not have right for that. That's number one. Number two, issue of internal democracy. How are we going by it in our country? Then number three, I don't think democratic principles are like this. They are not being followed as expected. To me,
I hope that maybe this woman will seek redress in the law court, and maybe something good will be done about it. But to be frank, this is not democracy. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this breather. Please stay with us.
Showing up in style inspires great confidence. IVM G5T appeals to class.
Time is of the essence. With IVM Kappa, business and meetings are always on the go.
Fun time with the family. Thank you to IVM Kingdom. IVM carries always stealing the show. Isn't she beautiful? Influence defines a great leader. IVM Seriki is Africa's commute king. Strong, reliable, and durable. With the concept of regionalization, Innocent Vehicle is committed to satisfying its customers with producing their everyday dream cars.
IVM, pride of African.
Welcome back. This is Journalist Hangout, and we're reaching you from TVC News here from our headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. And I still have Ganika Edebalogun and Tunde Abaton in the studio. So, gentlemen, we're talking about the position of the placeholder here and the Electoral Act for 2022 Electoral Act, and how our politicians now it's becoming like a norm when you finish your 8 years and then go to the Senate for these governors.
Well, they want to remain relevant. There was a time, I think, that I defined our democracy as governocracy. That's the government of governors, for governors, and by governors. And they hold all the aces as far as democracy is concerned. And I haven't tasted power at that level for
to run for the presidency. I can't get that ticket. So they just look for somebody to take advantage of the senatorial district.
But while you are doing that, you must also put somebody that you can trust that will obey. Because one thing about putting a cat in front of fried meat is that there's no guarantee that you'll meet all the meat when you come back. So whenever you are going to use a placeholder and somebody to hold a place for you, it will be somebody that you know deep down will be willing to step back and honor the original agreements. But if you are going for the presidential ticket under the impression that you are the front runner, whatever that means, or that you have been endorsed and you are so sure that you are going to win the ticket, things like this normally will happen.
As at now, APC, they're at the verge of even losing that ticket in Yobe, not even contesting at all. Yobe, Akwa Ibom, and this one, if is not properly managed, because the Independent National Commission, the Electoral Commission, they said it that for now, they don't recognize any candidates from the APC to fill those two positions, that's Yobe and Akwa Ibom.
Well, I think I think for once, we have to praise INEC. They have actually demonstrated and displayed the independence in them. 10 years ago, 8 years ago, such a thing would not have been possible.
They will
have buckled up and say they threw their hands up. But from what they did in Yobe and what they have done in Ebonyi State and what they are still likely to do in many other states, let them continue that path so that both the
that
INEC...
means at the end of the day, APC as a party might not contest
if you are a party and you
refuse at all
to respect internal and have internal democracy, mind you, PDP, that was the genesis of the problem in PDP, and that was in PDP in 2015, and that was the beginning of the end of the PDP.
Even now in Delta.
Even now in many other places. So I think we should learn to play by the rule. We should respect internal democracy. Another thing is that he was saying that, look, I am not surprised because politics is the only profitable business that is left in Nigeria.
Apart from
kidnapping. Most of those people in political office now, they have no second address. What do I mean by the second address? They have no means of income except politics. politics number 1, politics 2, politics 3. That is why you want to, if you are a pharmacist and you have a thriving pharmacy business, for God's sake, when you become governor for 8 years, you can go back to your business and go. But now, politics is the only viable business option in Nigeria. That is why
you crave to remain in limelight.
No, you have to remain relevant. They've seen what happened to former governors who did not go to Senate.
But there are many former governors that are thriving in Nigeria today that we can begin to name names. Like I said, they have like Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we left office in 2007. It's still relevant up to today. People, like I said, they have no second address. They don't have what they are doing. They just go into politics to make it, and they remain there.
If I should answer the guess, I think that in the next cycle of elections, the entire Senate will be made up of former governors or former deputy governors.
You don't have any second address.
109 in the Senate, so governors are just 36.
No, I don't set to take part.
Okay, Ada Judge is calling us. Thank you for staying with us, Ada Judge. Hello, Ada.
I'm calling from Jos, Plateau State.
Oh.
Good evening, journalist Hangout. Thanks for educating us all the time.
All right.
You know what is happening? Is lack of internal party democracy. You have people who say they are Democrats, practicing politics without principles. The minister, why should they expel that woman? It's like saying from your caption, it's like saying, how dare you say you're contesting for the seat? Since you lost in the primaries for the presidential, then you come back and take it. Nobody, who are you to tell me? That is what you are saying. And it shouldn't be so. You should still stick with the dress. I thought the electoral act stipulates that if you don't have a primary, you cannot come back for another one. I don't understand the whole scenario. People should enlighten us more. You know, what is happening in Nigeria? But how long will we continue like this? You know, they expel that they think it's an easy way out. They are really clever by half. Let us go to court. Let them, if it means not having any candidate for them, just like what has happened in the other 2 states now, let it happen to them. They will never learn. They always think they are bulldozers. You know? It's so really unfortunate, but all the same, let's not give up on this country to get better. Okay,
thank you, Ada. Thank you, Ada George from Plateau State. So, our final analysis, when we look at this situation, INEC, they've shown the level of independence, and they'll still fish out people like this because it's simply a case of you can't eat your cake and have it. And then, about the political parties, these states, they still dance to the tune of that emperor.
Well, I just believe that people go into politics in Nigeria today, if you believe Nigeria must be a better place, you must have a particular value or something in your mind that if you are denied or you are wronged by your party or your fundamental human rights is denied, you must be able to pursue it to the final conclusion. With what INEC is doing now, by next time we have the next round of election, governors or presidential candidates who wants to have a placeholder, they will think very well before picking somebody to be their placeholder. Because it all means that all powers end with them. They determine who you are the moment you are under in that particular state. And that is not democracy.
This woman can seek redress in court.
Yeah, she has no choice because it's not only her political life that is under threat, even her reputation as a person. Because the charges are so ridiculous that they're almost laughing. Because you're talking about of disparaging persons and the party. And that's the entire essence of primary election. To make your opponent look bad in such a way that people will pick you as the neat one. So I think we need to try and follow the rules. But based on experience in the last 22 years, I don't think we are going to learn. Because if you remember, there was a time the gubernatorial elections ended at the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
Some people said they are not getting justice. It was moved to the Supreme Court to body the court to something that should end at a particular level. Every year we change the electoral acts. Somebody will look for a loophole that we need to correct in the next time we touch the electoral acts. Now we thought we do, because this year we have enough time, about 8 months, between primaries and the election. So you can take care of all these internal wranglings. Yeah, we still go ahead. Don't forget, the placeholder thing ended just on Monday, last week. Yes. So that means after the primaries, you have another 90 days to change your candidates under whatever guise that you want. And yet the governor could not have any wire or anything to convince this woman to step down. And the only thing you can do is to create such a laughable scenario that even my 10-year-old will find unbelievable.
Doing.
It's unfortunate.
All right, moving on now. Wars and conflicts come and go because every crisis has a beginning as well as an end. For the crisis rocking the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, over disagreement between the Atiku and Wike camps, the end may come soon. The 14-member committee set up by the PDP presidential candidates Atiku Abubakar and Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike to reconcile their differences has begun work in Abuja. Atiku and Wike agreed to constitute the committee at a meeting in Abuja last Thursday. In the residence of the former Minister of Information, Professor Jerry Gana, at the meeting, the two combatants agreed on the framework for resolution of their differences. If you watch the utterances of Nyesom Wike, he's not looking as if he's ready anytime soon to seek to the path of reconciliation. And if you see the demand from his camp, it's going to be extremely difficult for Atiku Abubakar to meet those four demands. Changing of Ijoshia, getting a slot in their campaign organization, getting a slot if he wins the presidency, and what's the last one?
I don't know.
So, four crucial demands and major demands, and when you look at it, it's as if Wike knows that this is almost impossible for Atiku to meet, and still standing on that kind of agreement. And from the commissioning of its various projects and all the utterances and everything, it's as if he has got his mind made up.
Well, he's a politician. And one day is a long time in politics, as you know. 24 hours is a long time. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's beyond reprimand, as they say in French. Because, yes, right now, the Wike camp are very adamant, especially on the first point. The last 2 points, of course, are provincial, in case he wins. So those ones are big not. But the one for the removal of the chairman, I agree with Wike totally. PDP is presenting a picture of a northern party. The chairman board of trustees is a northerner. The chairman of the party is a northerner. The president candidate of the party is a northerner. That is not a good optics for a national party. Now, Wike may not be sincere in making that demand, but I think that's the easiest one to do, as far as the candidate is concerned. First one, you can give them slots in your campaign. It's a campaign for the party. It's not a campaign for only one person. Those two original demands, I'm sure they are met. Mr. Wike will have no choice but to reassess his position. Like I said, the other two are basically probatory. They are in the future. It's conditional. If the man doesn't win, those two will not come into play. But today, the two that can come into play, I think, in fairness, can be considered to Mr. Wike. Let Mr. Yu resign and let a southerner take charge of the party.
Was that the arrangement before the emergence? And if Wike had emerged as the presidential candidate, will he still be asking for this? And a lot of people will tell you that, look, that Wike is just a bad loser.
Well, if you look at the history of politics in Nigeria, like I told some people 3 weeks ago that if we have this arrangement, all those 3 topmost candidates, they are taking us back to 1979. 1979, in the UPN, we had Chief Obafemi Awolowo. In the NPP, we have Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. And in the NPN, we have Alhaji Shehu Shagari. At the end of the day, if this is the path they are taking us to, unfortunately, it is only by a miracle that we can have a winner outrightly. And looking at the history of bargaining for power in Nigeria, I think when you look at antecedents of Wike, the reasons for this particular kind of conditions that cannot be met is not far from the fact that he wanted the Southern presidency. And like Gani said, if you make up a party, the whole structure of the party, the chairman of the party, the presidential candidate of the party comes from one part of the country. You're also sending a wrong signal. If the PDP had done the unthinkable by picking a Southerner as the presidential candidate, I am telling you, the nature of politics in Nigeria will have changed permanently. But because of this, I want to see the war beyond Wike. Yes, you may say that politics is about interest. It's personal. But at the same time, you see, when you see a leaf dancing on the surface of the water, the drummer is beneath the water. Wike has certain things that is bargaining for. Don't forget that Wike took the federal government to court with the issue of VAT, and that is about federalism. So when we really look at it, PDP cannot eat their cake and have it. PDP has to stand up. I think the onus is on the fact that the party has been hijacked by a part of the country, and some people are kicking. We should not just malign Wike for standing for the right. Yes, you may say that he wanted to be president. How do you take a party, set up a committee of 17, and 14 out of that committee voted for the person that you drop? Only 3. It means when the person gets to power, he's going to behave the way he wanted. I think that is the message.
The man denied it that never happened. I think Abubakar denied it. He's not aware of any meeting of 17 to 3.
He's aware.
It's aware.
He denied that did not happen.
And if he's not aware, where are they pressurizing?
And we should all know, Abato, you've been covering politics for a long time. It's the prerogative of the candidates.
We know it's the prerogative, but when you look at the country and you look at the scenario, the problem is that we talk about reality is different from ideas. We are talking about ideas.
Did Asiwaju Bola Tinubu look at the country and the scenario before choosing his deputy?
Whether you like
is the prerogative?
No.
I think you're shifting to
politics is about give and take.
No, it's okay.
It's about give and take.
No, this is what really happened, as we know. 4 years ago, the Atiku Abubakar...
Okay, let's pick this call. Ikene is calling us from Inewi, that's in Anambra State.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Ikene.
Yeah, I want to thank you for your program. I always follow your program. I want to please draw you people back to the issue of Ekweremadu.
All right, quickly, please.
Nigeria should learn from this very case, knowing that there is a country that always keeps law. There is a place where judiciary work, not just like Nigeria where they will hold one case or because the person is in power or because the person is holding one case. So the Igbo should allow the UK government to take care of the case, to follow it up. Not by saying that the government of Nigeria will come and intervene. What kind of intervene? They have their law and they have the way they follow their matter. So they should stay clear and allow the UK government to take over the case and let Ekweremadu face the case because the case happening in UK. Coming to Dave Umai, let Nigeria learn from this politics that is going on, that is playing on in Nigeria. Must you be a senator after being a governor for 8 years? You did not participate in the primary election, and you want to have the ticket of the Senate? Let INEC and the judiciary look into this matter, because if they do it, that means what the law that they have signed, that means it's nothing.
Thank you, Ekene. Thank you for your contribution, Ekene. So as we were saying, we're talking about this the People's Democratic Party and the impact. Now, all major parties now, they are setting up their National Presidential Campaign Council ahead of September 28th kickoff date for campaign. And we've seen APC, they have something in place. And I've been told that the PDP is considering ceding that position of campaign chairman to the Southwest, DG to the Southwest, between Seyi Makinde and former Governor Oyinlola. But, because of the crisis within the PDP, they can't even come together, hold the National Caucus meeting and the National Working Committee, because they feel that some faction might just ask for the exit of Iyorchia.
Yeah, I think the two things you have to understand is the fact that the Wike factor has become an albatross on the knock of PDP. Because I heard on TV the spokesman for PDP, this man from Ogun State, I've got his name.
Show me.
And who was saying that, who was dismissive of Wike. That the party is bigger than anybody and all that. Fine. But you and I know that a little bit of pepper can cause trouble. for your whole body if you apply to certain areas. So I think that's what Wike is trying, because this is an ego problem. It's about managing the ego of two men. I agree with you about Mr. Atiku Abubakar having the prerogative, because he tried it 4 years ago. He fell flat on his face. Remember when he picked the Peter Obi?
The likes of Senator Ekweremadu, they weren't happy with that.
Yeah,
but he reached out to them
of the
ultimately.
were not happy, and they worked against the party. He was trying to avoid this time, but it's like a case of damn if you do and damn if you don't. Right now, what they need to do, like you said, is find a middle ground. And I think Mr. Ayu will be the sacrificial lamb.
But Atiku is not ready to sacrifice it. He said maybe after the election, Ayu can. But right now, he can't allow any of his general.
Ayo, after the election and the party did not win, there is no need for this problem. If they won, the problem here is that the president candidate can say, I want to keep my winning team. Otherwise, it's not a problem that you want to have when you are doing the president candidate of the party. I think what they need to do, and I think what the best interest of their party is very clear. So you must sacrifice somebody.
Do you think we are being fair to Atiku Abubakar here, in the sense that if you, Tunde Abaton, you are the presidential candidate, and they ask you to choose between Okowa and Nyesom Wike in terms of character, in terms of somebody that you can go to bed with your two eyes closed, somebody that will be a loyal deputy to you, will you, in all consideration, look at the side of
at
the expense of
Ayo, I am assured and exposed enough to know that I don't judge the book by the cover. I don't know. I have never been close to Okowa. Neither has ever been close to Wike. But what I know is that for anybody to nominate some people for me, I have to do a lot of work on them. And if anybody has no electoral value, I don't think you will take him.
And you are going for the same thing. You are going for the same position.
If somebody has no electoral value, you will risk your life by taking him.
Okay, I have Ogbara calling us from Lekki.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to Mr. Balogo and the other panelists.
Okay, Mr. Abaton, go ahead, please.
All right. Please, you can see that some of these our leaders has no country here. Nigeria is their office where they make money and go to their country. So NS and Igbo should leave British government to do their work. Among 36 states or the federation, there is no way they have equipped the hospital. There is no way they can do any surgery anywhere here. It's a shame. It's a shame. Nigeria is the office. They make money here and go to their country. They have a country somewhere. Concerning Wike, just forget about it. He's in the PDP. At the end of everything, you see him back. We know him. Thank you.
Because, yes, some people argue that, look, it should be costly for Wike to leave the PDP. He has a candidate he wants to succeed him in Rivers State within the People's Democratic Party, that though he might remain in PDP, he might work against
but I think his constituency has a reason, and that reason is that he wanted to emphasize and display his interest and his power within the party. And that is allowed because it is about interest. At the end of the day, personal interest comes in. I think he wanted to get the best bargain in the party. And I think it is not too much for anybody who believes he has a stake in the survival of the party. The mere fact that there is still room for negotiations means that something can still polish that is still willing. His doors are still open.
I will ask you the same question I asked you about.
Well, I know Mr. Wike, so I cannot deny that. And I know what you see is what you get.
He contested against Atiku Abubakar in this election.
Again, like I said, your question was different.
And there's nowhere in the constitution that says if anybody contests against you and loses out, that you should placate the person with the position of vice presidency.
I think what really happened, if you were to take what the governor of Benue said, was the fact that they even went to Wike and asked him whether he would consider being a vice president candidate. That was they that convinced him. I didn't say that, that's Otton speaking. That's what he said. But like I said, with Wike, what you see is what you get. Ultimately, he may, in the interest of the party, backtrack, or he may not. But that's all to Wike himself to decide. I don't think we should be, because it's this level of dismissiveness.
Yes.
That allow people to dig deep and deep down.
And become unreading in their,
because they just assume that
position.
you think
So he has every right.
I'm a nobody. Let me show you that I'm a somebody. Like I said, the job for Atiku today is not about only uniting the party. It's making sure that those fringe elements that are going to cause trouble down the line are brought in under one umbrella, which is, of course, the party's symbol.
If Wiki continues to romance the leaders of the People's Democratic Party, all Progressive Congress, would there be any hope for reconciliation? And you are commissioning projects, you are doing it day in, you are inviting the Speaker, you are inviting Governor Sanwo-Olu just to pepper the...
Well, in international relations, whenever any country is threatening your interest, you show your power. Like what they did for Saddam Hussein. They sent all the armory, all the aircraft lifters, just to show him that, look, we are capable of taking action. Perhaps he will have a change of mind. I think what Wike is doing
show of force.
Yes. So what Wike is doing is that I have enough armory, I have enough liberty, I have enough something behind me. And like I said, in politics, everybody is important. He's trying to show the person that he is. And because it is also about personal interest at the end of the day, is using all the arsenals in his power to bargain much. Because even when the election takes place and the party should lose, if the party can win, nobody can guarantee that he will be given anything.
So, two-case scenario. Can Atiku Abubakar decide as a party leader to call the bluff of Wike, or maybe go ahead to suspend Nyesom Wike as a member of the People's Democratic Party? Will heaven fall?
No, I think this is the last-ditch effort to avoid that, really. I think what they are doing now is to do everything they think they can do that is humanly possible, to do the placation, and then come back and say, well, after this, I think the gloves will be off. And everybody has
What will be the implication? Worst case scenario?
Worst case scenario, they could lose. And then that will be the X factor. Don't forget the X factor of the 5 governors that left PDP in 2015. To what happened to the Buhari presidency. They are trying to make sure this is not the X factor that will cause them the election.
Because when you look at the figures that INEC released, and when you look at Rivers is like this the second biggest state in the southern part of the country, after Lagos.
After Lagos, yes. Now.
I don't also forget there's a third party that can also eat into the votes of the area. It is a 2-horse race. Yeah,
it's so clear.
I'll tell you that they can dismiss Wike's strengths and simply go with whatever they want to. But now they have another threat, chipping away at their heels. And they don't want to have an open house where they thought was a stronghold of the party. But like I said, if the conciliation does not work, I think the party and Wike will have to remove the gloves and go to full
what can be the worst case scenario?
Well, the worst case scenario is that should Wike live to his threats and body language that we can all see, what it means is that that race for 2023, nobody can determine it. Because like he said, in Rivers State, even in the South, from where Wike comes from, they have the elements of Southeast people there. So people can make up their mind what to do. But what I keep on telling you is that in the southern part of Nigeria, majority of people want power to stay in the south. So I don't really know how PDP they are going to do it, except they pacify Wike one way or the other. We have to know that.
So that's to pacify
from the southern part of the country, people want power to come back to the south. And the fact that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar happens to be a Fulani man, whether you like it or not, people are not so disposed towards handing over to another
people in the south.
In the southern part of the country. I have no personal grounds. We are just analyzing. We have to be genuine. We have to be sincere. And we have to look at things the way they are. That is the truth of the matter.
Ultimately, Nigerians will decide.
Nigerians have to take
decide. Tunde Abaton, I want to thank you.
It's a pleasure.
I want to thank you for your contribution. We'll see you around Nigeria.
Always a pleasure to be here.
I want to thank viewers too, and that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Usubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the biggest Copper Chef collection yet, the Copper Chef Dream Collection. Each pan in the Dream Collection features Copper Chef's stainless steel induction plate that heats your food quickly and evenly with no hot spots, making it perfect for any surface, electric, gas, ceramic, and induction. You could be paying over 500,000 naira for a collection of pans that are not even